improving those around you, right? Improving, like if you want to bring the people up that are around you. How many of you guys can do that? How many of you guys know how to actually rise people to the next occasion? Like help them build themselves into somebody better than who they are. And I don't mean just encourage them. I mean like literally create a transformation. It's one of the most difficult things that I've ever tried to do. And I've been able to do it. But sometimes I was more successful than others. And that's what I wanted to come on here and teach you guys today is I want to teach you how to develop the team members around you. It could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your coworkers in your business, it could be your kids. And I want to share with you guys just some things that I've picked up over the years that have helped me develop others and help them rise to their potential. All right, let me just give a couple little examples. Earlier today, I had a coaching call with a young man who didn't have very much money to his name when he started working with me a few years ago. And he's put in a lot of work personally. And he's making really good money now. So no money to a person that's makes more in a month than some people make in a year. And he's actually become very disciplined. He has some areas that he needs to work on. But that's one person. Another one was, I'll just use my wife as an example. My wife, I'm saying this, but these people did the work, okay? I'm not the one responsible for their transformation. They did their own transformation. I played a small role in it because I was available and I was there and I was part of the journey. But my wife went from never being a runner, right? So she ran her first marathon earlier this year at 37 years old. Pretty phenomenal. Another transformation. There was this person I worked with that they wouldn't just have bad days. They used to have bad weeks, months. And, I mean, it went on and on and on. It was like every time they got knocked down, they were out for a month or more. And they started developing and becoming resilient. And they learned how to turn a bad season into a bad day, and they would bounce back. So they really, really reduced the amount of time that they had in these bad sessions or whatever the fuck, And another transformation. Let's just talk about mine. My personal transformation. I went from kind of crazy lifestyle, impulsive, gluttonous, to very disciplined. I mean, I was a guy that sometimes I would try to, create a record for how long I could sleep. And now I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning. Boom, boom, boom. But transformation, many of you guys are probably going through a transformation. So whether you want to change or you want those around you to change, this is what I found over the years. When I was an infantry officer, I was responsible for building up the young officers that were coming underneath my command. So I was a company commander, and I had new lieutenants coming in and serving under my leadership. And one of the things that I used to do is I was responsible for making sure they all I wanted them to be the best in my unit. Okay, that's what I really wanted. And so I was constantly looking at how could I get them to become the best. And there was a couple of things that I did. The first thing is that I loaded them up with the amount of pressure I thought that they could handle. Okay, you hear that often, that pressure creates diamonds, but it's absolutely true. It's not just a saying. And so if you want a transformation, how much pressure are you putting on yourself? If life is easy for you right now, you might be in a season of complacency. Pressure really does create diamonds. So you pick the area of life where you want to be better, and then you put more pressure on yourself in that area. Now I would basically, what I used to do with these lieutenants is as they were coming in, the more experienced ones would get the more complex missions. And then the ones that were newer, I would give them less complex missions. Like I remember I would give the seasoned guy a squad live fire, mission. Like he was going to go put a plan into place so that we could all go train and get our squads certified in Battle Drill 1 Alpha, squad attack. And then the newer guy, I would have him plan a mission like unit PT, because it was a simple thing that he could do. He was a newer guy, low pressure, but a little bit of pressure because I would make him, those events, like, they weren't high risk, but they were high visibility. So there was a lot of pressure on doing a good job. My dog, just a few minutes ago, fell in this pool. I was sitting here about to record for you guys. Little Epic over there. I just heard a splash, and he fell into the pool. And it caught me off guard, and I looked, and I see him, and he's got panic on his face. I mean, he was freaking out, looking up. Oh, my God, oh, my God. And he's never swam in that pool. I've told my wife that I never wanted to throw him in there. I don't want him to get traumatized. So I look over there, and he's in the deep end, and he's, like, sinking and coming up, sinking and coming up. And I started taking off, going over there. My first instinct was just to pull him right out. And as I looked at him, I could tell he was starting to try, like, he was paddling so hard, he was staying above water. And I realized that he wasn't going to drown in that moment. So I saw the opportunity to let him work on surviving. And as I walked over there, I didn't rush to pull him out of the water. I let him work through the problem that he was facing. Kiva, enough. And I'm actually gonna let him in. And then I'll finish up this video. But so as I'm rolling up, he's in the deep end, panicking, and I'm thinking it automatically, pull him out. But then I was like, nah, don't. Let him work through it. So I let him work through it. And if you guys have kids, maybe do this with your kids. And I just gotten close enough to where I could pull him out if he started to sink. But I let him fight to survive. Maybe that was the wrong thing to do in some people's eyes, but I thought it was the right thing to do. Because as he worked through trying to keep his head above water, he actually started getting better at swimming. And as soon as he started developing a little bit better of proficiency, but then he started getting really tired and he started sinking, I pulled him out. Moral of the story is that I was building him in that moment, And over the years, what I've realized is that a lot of people, in order for them to really transform, a lot of times people will help too early. Think about a friend that you might have, a loved one that you might have that's maybe drinking too much, smoking too much, and you're always there for them. You're always saving them from themselves. What I've learned over the years is that you want to be there for others, but it's not your job to save them. It's your job to develop them. And sometimes the best way to create a transformation in somebody is to let them work through it, to not save them. Just like Epic in the pool over there. And while that feels like why it's really hard to do that, it's really hard to let your friends and family members struggle because it feels shitty. Sometimes that's what's absolutely needed. Okay, so how do you create a transformation in somebody? You create transformation by helping a person, not saving a person. It's not your job to save anybody. It's your job to help them. And it's your job, listen, when you have somebody that's struggling and you trust them and you tell them that you trust them to figure it out, you believe that they'll be able to turn it around, you're actually empowering them. Because when you help somebody so much, you try to save them every single time, you never give them the opportunity to build up the resilience and the strength that they need to save themselves. So sometimes helping somebody, saving somebody is actually hurting them. So guys, I want you to take a second today and ask yourself, like, who in your life are you maybe helping and saving a little too much? Maybe maybe that's even yourself. Maybe you're finding escape from your problems and you really need to let yourself sit in your problems so you can turn it around. That's what happened with me. I had to finally confront my demons, confront my problems, and only then, through that pain, did I turn around, I had to realize that I wasn't the same person as I was when I wore the uniform as when I took it off. I was two different people. And once I fixed that issue, once I got more congruent, more in alignment with myself, confidence went up, self-worth went up, everything went up. So anyways, that's my message for you guys today. Is the way to create transformation is through pressure. You put pressure on people. People will survive. People will climb out of the pool. People will tread water. They will turn their life around. You just have to believe that they can. And sometimes that means that you can't really just save them for them, you know? I hope you guys like this message. I appreciate the comments on the last one. I'm going in right after this and going to go talk to you guys. But this was a little like leadership lesson, leadership lesson 101. How do you transform people? You put some pressure on their shoulders. Trust in your people. People are more resilient than you think. Remember that. Conquer all.